The three ninja prohibitions:
That's it,
money,
prohibition.
alcohol, and women.
Yeah, and he basically does all of it. He loves
He's
women.
doing it all at the same time.
Yeah, he loves women. He's always drinking. I think as a teacher, he really sees like the potential in Naruto, but also he's keeping it light and friendly, and he's serious with the training of Naruto, but he's also like willing to have a bit of fun with him, and that is a great lesson in itself.
Being a stand for people watching Naruto, I got so much out of it myself. It's one of the reasons I stopped trying to hurt myself. It's one of the only things I had to look forward to every week. One of the things I noticed was it's the story of hope. You know, like when things look hopeless, what do you draw from?
The summoning jutsu is where like you summon an animal that you're kind of aligned to. Jiraiya's trying to teach it to Naruto. Naruto's like, oh, I just can't get it. And it's like, it's so easy at that point to just give up. But when he just really like gives himself to it, he summons like the big toad that even Jiraiya wasn't expecting him to summon. He's like, oh shit, that's like the king toad. How did you do that? Even the toad's like, what am I doing here? He's like sitting there like, well, how did I get here?
We're capable of so much more than we think we are. What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome forward to another episode of
Nerd Life Coaches.
Yeah, Nerd Life's in the building. We've had quite the week, haven't we?
Yeah, and we got quite the episode lined up as well.
Oh yes. Before we get into that, we started this podcast because Alex and I'm Sachin.
I'm Alex.
We're both professional life coaches. We do this full time, not podcasting. Well, do we do this full time?
Not
Might
yet.
as well be. We coach. We work with people every single day, and we also find ourselves having conversations about things that we watch, TV shows, video games, anime, or play like video games, movies and stuff. We find ourselves having these conversations about what we're getting from what we've consumed that week, and we wanted to share it with you to start conversations, not to just shout into the void and hope that it sounds nice and we look good. We know we sound nice and look good. No hope required there.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, we've made such profound like learnings and insights, and have, you know, watched things that have changed our lives, and it's like we want to like bring these conversations into like the space, right, and open the conversations around them, because I think there's a lot of conversations to be had around, you know, what is the message of the stories of the things that we're consuming. Because, you know, I always say this, right, and you'd always laugh when I say it, but the people who write this stuff aren't idiots. Like, they write messages into the stories for a reason, right? And especially what we're going to talk about today, like this is going to be part 2 of our ultimate Naruto breakdown. So if you haven't seen part 1, go and check that out, and then come back to this.
And if you don't know what Naruto is, let's give you a little recap real quick. Naruto is an anime. It's about 1,000 episodes long with the filler, 700 without, and it's the story of it's your story. How about that?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Watch this as if it's about you.
Yeah.
Private joke. If you know what that's about, hit us up. But yeah, the story of Naruto is he's a little kid, and there's a demon fox spirit that has been sealed into him, and the story follows the events of this knucklehead ninja from when he's a little kid to as he grows up and goes through a lot of hardship, and the fate of the world is at stake, let's say.
Yeah, it's really like the story of like not just Naruto, but like, you know, the people around him. It's like the story of like boys becoming men, isn't it, really? And yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, you know, I think that I've said this before, but I definitely think it's one of the best things I've ever watched, and I'm glad that a certain someone, no names mentioned, forced me to watch it.
There's no forcing. I was being a stand.
Yeah, all right, being a stand.
Being a stand for people watching Naruto. Like, I got so much out of it myself. It's one of the reasons I stopped trying to hurt myself on a regular basis. It's one of the only things I had to look forward to every week, and coupled with some other YouTube channels. And one of the things I noticed was it's the story of hope. You know, like when things look hopeless, what do you draw from? You know, we're lucky. We're surrounded by great coaches. We've got each other. We've got great friends and stuff. But even then,
but even that, we haven't always been. That's only been recently, like last 3 years, really, that we started to kind of build a bit of a community around us in a way.
True.
before that, you know, for 7 years before that, you know, after I started my journey of like personal growth 10 years ago, it was kind of solo. And like stuff like this, although I didn't watch Naruto back then, but for me there was other stuff like this that had the same sort of representation that helped me through that journey. You know, it was my coaching, it was my teachings, it was my learnings, you know. And you know, my one was like, you know, Dragon Ball Z mainly, like Goku's journey and stuff like that. But you know, when you actually look into what they're trying to tell through these stories, it's so helpful, man. And you see it all the time. Like now my Instagram explore page is like Naruto memes galore. And there's so many people, like they're talking about, you know, this character's story, that character's story, this character's story, and how it's like impacted them, and like how it's, you know, helped people kind of through stuff. And it's like, you know, it's not just a cartoon about a kid. It's so much more than that. And it's like, it has a real, you know, strong sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, cultural impact, because of the deep, you know, lessons that the writers have put into it. You know, like I said, they're not stupid people. They've written certain messages into the story on purpose to teach something. So it's not just a fun watch, but you're also really getting something from it. Like you could sit down and you could just watch Naruto over and over for the next 10 years, and that can be your coaching, that can be your teaching, that can be your therapy, that can be everything for you if you want it to be, if you're watching it in that way.
I think especially there's you can't see it, but I've got a tattoo of Pain on the inside of my arm. Pain is one of the characters in the anime, and it's the nod to, we don't connect in our perfection, we connect in our pain. And I think there's something so important to say about that, because these days no one wants to show their pain. Everything on social media is smiles and waves and all of that shit. And instead, like, I really like to look in this direction of Pain in the anime. I mean, we'll get onto the Pain breakdown later, but he brings everyone together, really. And he has a change of heart because of that. But anyway, let's get into what's the next part.
No, before we get into that, there's something more important we need to talk about. Someone, no names mentioned, sitting in this room right now that isn't me, has their first kickboxing fight coming up this week.
Hey, I stopped calling it my first.
Okay.
Don't want to make it a thing.
All right, got a kickboxing fight coming up this week.
Yeah.
Like what? Like so. I'm interested, and I think there'll be a lot of value in this, like of the journey that when did you start training? Like September, October?
I did my first class in like October time.
Yeah. What have you experienced as a shift for you? Because this kind of also ties into the journey of Naruto in a way, right? It's like learning to become. So like, give us a little spitball, you got 2 minutes for the floor, my man.
2 minutes on the clock,
yeah.
Shit. I think the biggest change that I've seen is I can do anything if I put my mind to it. I kind of knew that before, but physical fitness wasn't really a priority to me. Like, I used to lift weights and stuff, but not like seriously, and I had nothing to train for. But having something to train for has been a totally different ball game. I've seen the difference in the way I show up to classes because I know I've got a fight, and other people show up to classes because they're trying to do their fitness. It's not the same. There's also, like, just knowing where my limits are, where my fears are, where my edges are, and like really leaning into them. Like my coach, Kef, shout out to Kef the Hef. He just, at some points when we were sparring, he would kick me. Like, I had a big bruise on my rib one day. Remember I showed you? It was like purple, green, blue, brown. And it was really hurting at some points. Like, I would cough and it would feel tender. Or like, I'd be getting kicked all over the body and stuff. And I'd be like asking myself sometimes, why the hell am I doing this? Oh, because I said I would. So it's also taught me to be careful what I say, which I say a lot of things. So I've got to be careful all the time. But yeah, being my word and living into my word, living into what I say I'm going to do, developing a skill set, and then going into a ring to test it. This isn't a sport. You don't play kickboxing. You can, but generally you don't. And I've just learned like a lot about, especially like building community. There's a great community in the gym that I train at. Everyone's cool. I've met some really amazing people there. I've had some really good laughs. And I also noticed no one wants to train with the guy who's taking it too seriously, but everyone wants to train with the guy that's having fun with it and can teach you a little bit. Like, I'll give people feedback. I ask them for feedback. I make stupid sound effects like I'm in Tekken. It's great, man. I've really enjoyed it, and it's adding more to my coaching skill set. Like, I'm seeing where other people's edges are, and I'm leaning into them with fun. Whereas before, there wasn't that done. I mean, I would lean into it with fun anyway, but there's just a different. This is the whole reason I started this, man. It's easy for me to sit in my apartment in Shoreditch, have a good life, yeah, whatever. But I want to be in beginner's mind.
Yeah.
I want to be able to relate to when people are scared in a different way.
Yeah.
I've been scared. I probably will get scared again in the future in business, but it'd be different. Now I'm like really hands-on with it, so it's been really, really fun. My mom doesn't like it though.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I think it for me, it kind of, it's different, but it kind of reminds me of when I started skateboarding in 2019, like just fresh, like I've like never skateboarded before in my life, and just thought, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna buy a skateboard and I'm gonna go to the park and I'm gonna learn. And it's like that there's a level of like, you just have to stay with it, you know what I mean? You just have to stay with it. You have to stay with it. And you know, for me, like with skateboarding, there isn't like I'm not training towards something, and there's also no like, there's like endless amounts of like learning and skills that you can, you know, gain or practice as like with skateboarding. For me, it's just like, first of all, it was like, can I learn to ollie? Then it was like, can I learn to do the next thing? Can I learn to then like do the next thing? Then can I learn to do the next thing? Can I learn to go up a ramp and like tap my wheels on the top and come back down? You know, stuff like that. And it's like, you just get into like this repetitive nature of like, practice makes perfect. And it's, for me, it's like that beginner's mind of like really learning. And I think it's also been like getting a feel for the move. Do you know what I mean? There's like a when you do a nice ollie, for example, you feel the movement, and you're like, okay, so I need to replicate the feeling of that movement, the way my legs moved, the way the board moved with me. And it's like, you know, you're just learning in a different way. Like, you're putting your mind to use in a different way, rather than just like, okay, this is like business and I'm learning, I'm at this level and I've still got this level to get to. It's like starting from fresh. It's like you're having to really like open your mind to like just being a pure beginner and purely learning. And that's what I found with skateboarding, and still do. Like, I'm still terrible.
I love it though, man. Yeah, we could talk about that for a long time, but we've got some time to get into the Naruto breakdown.
Let's go. Let's fucking go, guys. Come on, guys, let's go.
What's your favorite thing about Jiraiya?
Oh, we're getting there. All right, so the second sort of chapter, as it were, in the story is when Jiraiya first comes on the scene, isn't it? And he takes Naruto under his wing. So Jiraiya is like one of the legendary, what they call him? Sanin, the three ninjas, basically. And he's a bit of a hermit, so he like goes off and does his own thing, and he travels and whatever. And he comes back to take Naruto under his wing to train him. And you can tell there's a lot of like mystique about him, and everyone like, it's a bit like, oh my god, Jiraiya, like. But then on the other side, he's just like, he's going against all of the stuff that he teaches, right? There's like, there's like the three ninja prohibitions: money, alcohol, and women. Yeah, and he basically does all of it. He loves women. He's doing it all at the same time. Yeah, he loves women. He's always drinking, and he's like, no, he doesn't really gamble, does he? But yeah, I guess. And it's just like he's, I think as a teacher, I think he's really showing me a way to, you know, he really sees like the potential in Naruto, and he's like talking to him at the level of like, not, oh, you're Naruto, this kid. He's talking to him at like Naruto, like when he's like god level or whatever, like whatever he sees in him, and he's teaching him through that, but also he's keeping it light and friendly. And you know, he's got that, it's kind of what you were saying about the kickboxing a moment ago, is like he's serious with the training of Naruto, but he's also like willing to have a bit of fun with him and play some games and like keep it light but keep it serious at the same time. And I think that is a great lesson in itself. And like, yeah, like if you go too serious, it gets a bit like, oh god, like got to do this again. If it goes too light, you're not taking it seriously enough. So there's like a blend in the middle of anything, of like, can you find the level of play and seriousness that kind of just overlaps beautifully. And I think Jiraiya kind of really brings that, because, you know, we were talking on the part 1 breakdown. Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen Naruto. Yeah, we were talking on the part 1 breakdown of Kakashi, right? And how he's like an amazing coach, but he's so far on the serious side. He doesn't really have like a light-hearted nature, whereas Jiraiya comes at it more from, I'm light-hearted, I'm fun, and, you know, we're going to have a good time, but we're also going to take the training seriously.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. He's like a good blend of, I'm amazing at what I do and I refuse to take it seriously. That's how I relate to him the most, as a coach especially. Like, they're dealing with pretty high stakes, man. Like, there's a lot on the line, and he's just like, yeah, let's go to the hot spring and look at women. And Naruto's like, you calls him pervy sage. I love that. It's so stupid. One of my favorite things about Jiraiya is also like, he's very like non-serious. Then he's got like a depth to him about, like, he's been hurt. Him, Orochimaru, and what's the name, Tsunade. They were all on one team, the Sanin, right? And they fought wars together and all this stuff. And he's deeply hurt that their teams got split up. And it just shows like he's chosen how to handle his pain differently. Tsunade's gone down a drinking and gambling bender. Yeah. Orochimaru's fucked off to do evil experiments. And he seems like the most well-adjusted person, which is really funny to say.
And I think it also goes to show how, like, you know, you look at those 3 characters there, Orochimaru, Tsunade, and Jiraiya. We could say that all 3 of those, you know, in some degree are outcome the inflatable, inverted commas, broken, but they're just dealing with something that they haven't, you know, I guess, dealt with properly. And, you know, they're overcompensating in an area of their life for something that they're trying to deal with. And I think Jiraiya, like, he has that, you know, with his, like, you know, obsession with women and, you know, gambling and whatever it is, drinking, sorry, that he's dealing with something, and it's that pain point of like, oh yeah, but like, you know, so I'm sad that the team have broken up and who've going our own ways, and there's more to it, you know. Obviously, as the series goes on, you find out a bit more about Jiraiya's story in depth with like what happens, you know, or what happened previously. And I think it's just like, I think he's one of the best characters in the show, man, for me. And I said this to you the other day, I want to rewatch the Jiraiya arc again, because I think there's so much stuff, and he's a very, you know, he's like a wise sage as well. You know, he comes through and he's got the bars of wisdom, and you know, he sits Naruto down and he's like dropping gems on him, and Naruto is like this dumb kid who's like, I don't get what you're saying, like, you say it again. But he's just dropping gems, and he's just like, he's got a wisdom about him, and he's not shy in sharing that. He's not like, oh yeah, this kid's not going to get it. He's like, no, like, he's going to hear it on some level, and when he's ready, he'll hear it at a deeper level. Yeah,
it's like when he's teaching him how to do the Rasengan.
Yeah.
You know, like, first you got to pop this balloon, the water balloon, then the softball, then this, then, and like, at each stage, Naruto's getting pissed off. He's like, oh God, can't do it. Okay, I did it. And then the same with the next stage, and the same with the next stage. He doesn't push him. He's like, cool, you take it at your own pace. This is great coaching. And a lot of people will get disheartened, not to name names, at certain stages of the journey. I have too, man. Bruv, like, I'm working on hiring the ultimate coach. It hasn't been an easy journey in it. There's been a lot of stuff that's gone into it, and at times it's felt really difficult. And I'm really glad that I'm doing it. I'm really glad that I'm pushing myself to operate at such a high level. But there's something really fun about the way Jiraiya and Naruto are playing with this. There's a willingness to stick to it, man. There's a willingness to be like, no, we're not just going to give up and quit because you're finding it hard. Stay with it. It's going to take you some time. And he doesn't expect Naruto to get it so quickly. But he's like, oh, wow, like, this kid's pretty good. He's getting it quite quickly. He's surprised. And I think we'll surprise ourselves when we try something and we stick with it for a period. This is why I say to one of my mates who was considering leaving his girlfriend. And it wasn't something that he's like, telling other people about. He's just like, look, this is what's happening. And I said to him, give it at least 1 year of trying from a different perspective, trying in a different way, really like seeing the best in each other. If after that you don't want to, cool. But a year is a good period of time to try anything out. Kickboxing.
Yeah.
If like I started in November last year, I've only really been training consistently since April. Like classes every week, one-on-ones every week, like really taking it seriously. I've seen an enormous improvement. I asked my coach yesterday, am I ready to fight? He goes, well, you landed some shots on me, so yeah. Even though we don't believe in ready.
Yeah, it's true, man. And I think that's it. I think it's like the continuing, and this is it. This is what, in those scenes there with Jiraiya. And I think like there's a lot of that in Naruto in general. Like when you see people training, they rarely show the training side of stuff, but when you do see it, it's such a repetitive, like practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. And you have to stay with it. If you don't stay with it, if you don't stay with the thing that you're trying to learn, you're gonna get disheartened. But stay with it and you'll get there. And if you get disheartened and you give it up, you won't get there. The only way you can ever not get to a point or create something or grow in a way that you want is if you give up. Really. And it sounds very obvious, and it is, but it's also, it feels very hard when you're in the thick of it. I know that, you know that, and we know what it's like, and I've had times where I'm just like, fuck, even recently I'm like, fuck this coaching business thing, man, it's long. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like you get to points where you're like, fucking, why am I bothering with all this?
I got punched in the face so hard one day. I was just like, why am I doing this? I don't even need to be here. Fuck these lot.
It's true.
It was one time one of the coaches was coming at me, like I felt like he was trying to kill me, and I know he wasn't, but he was like, you're telling me, hit me more, stop it, like just like it's called your composure, innit? Put a good poker face on, stop me from doing it. I was like, okay. But yeah, man, it's something, it's Keith, our mentor, Dr. Keith Blevins, talks about this as you can have access to infinite resilience. And that's the way I like to look at it too, man. Like, if I had infinite resilience, I'd never stop anything. I'd just keep going. And this is what happened recently. So I had this moment of like, shall I just put everything I'm doing on like a bit of so I slow down a little bit in terms of output. And I sat there and I just laughed for a second. I was like, you're taking it too seriously. Stop it. Just shut up. Chill. I put some music on, and I was like, no, I shouldn't be listening to music. I should be working. I'm like, why? Like, it's just there's so much in how Naruto and Jiraiya train. Naruto's like, I want to learn this new thing, and Jiraiya's like, okay, it's gonna take you some time. You're not gonna get it like that. And I think that I definitely have that impatience about what I'm creating. Like, okay, can I just get the next thing? Can I just get to the next thing? Can I just get... And it's like, no, there's so much beauty in the journey. I've given out so much great stuff to so many people, and to see how it comes about in like the container of what I'm creating is just, it's different, man. I don't think I get an appreciation for just how beautiful things are if I get it like that.
Yeah, it's true. So what else we got in this second part of the Naruto story? There's I can't remember. It seems like ages ago now.
So Itachi and Kisame go to the Hidden Leaf Village towards the end of the first season, and this is where Naruto sees Itachi for the first time, and Itachi meets Sasuke again, and he beats his ass. And Jiraiya comes in and does that toad mouth jutsu.
So that's the scene. So
that's in season 1 though.
Yeah. So is that at the end of the season 1? So then what I'm trying to remember now. Like what happens in this arc?
So basically, the Akatsuki, the terrorist organization of rogue ninja, the leader Pain says to Itachi, go get the demon fox spirit out of Naruto. And they end up getting Gaara instead at the end of the Chunin exams.
Yeah.
No, wait, am I mixing up the timelines? Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, they get Gaara. And then they try and get Naruto, and then Jiraiya takes him away. The next part that I would like to talk about is Sasuke fucking off to go and train with Orochimaru.
Ooh, yeah.
And Sakura's like, oh, please don't go. And he's like, bitch, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, so this is when Orochimaru sends his guys to come and find Sasuke, and then Sasuke just like willingly goes anyway. And that's an amazing storyline, because that to me really starts Sasuke's journey. Because up until then you're like, what's this kid all about? He's just angry all the time about something, like, and then his story starts to develop, because there's that scene that you just mentioned where Itachi, who's his older brother, comes back and they kind of see each other again for the first time. And Itachi says to Sasuke, like, he beats him up and he's like, you don't have enough hate inside of you yet to come and fight me. Something like that, isn't it? And then Sasuke's like on this mission now to like, right, I'm going to be the most hateful person. Like, I hate my brother, because the story is that Itachi is Sasuke's older brother. He basically killed their entire clan. Like, just all of the Uchihas, they wiped them all in one night, plus his own parents, and he left Sasuke as the only remaining survivor.
Their dad was called Fugaku Uchiha.
Yeah.
Just find that fun.
And now Sasuke's on this mission to like get vengeance for his family and the rest of his clan, and like wants to go after his brother. So he goes on the mission to like team up with Orochimaru, because he knows that Orochimaru can help him get the power that he needs to then fight Itachi. And I think it's such an interesting journey, because it's like it's a point in time where you sense like, okay, something has shifted here for him. Like he's gone into the darkness kind of thing, and he's going after it in a way that he's just like, all right, I'm doing it because I need this thing, and this is the only way I'm gonna get it. And like Orochimaru obviously like coaxes him with his like little schemy ways, but slimy ways.
He doesn't even have to. He's like, he knows he's gonna capitalize on how Sasuke already feels.
Exactly. He's capitalizing on his feeling of vengeance and hatred towards his brother, and he knows like, yeah, he's gonna come to me because he knows I can help him with the power.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Get rich quick schemes.
Yeah.
In it, like or like, you know, like supplements.
Yeah.
Or like steroids and shit.
Yeah.
Like, people want something. Revenge in Sasuke's case, money, good looks, or good looks, or like your body to look a certain way. They don't want to train for it.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh yeah, let me just take 5-10 years out of my life to really create this as like a lifestyle change. There's like, no, fuck all of that. Give it to me now. I don't give the cost. Chal, we'll do.
We'll deal with that when and it's true though. It's like the whole cosmetic industry, right?
Oh shit!
We won't go all the way down that
No,
tunnel.
Give it to him. Let's go. I want to hear it.
No, but it's true. Implants.
Yeah.
All of it. Implants, fake lips, like all of this stuff, right? It's selling something to someone based on either an insecurity or a pain point, or like you want to feel good about this thing. Here we go. We can give it to you quicker. You know, and it's like that's all it is. It's taking advantage of something within someone else to make them think that by having this thing it's going to give you the thing that you want, when it won't.
Oof.
You know, it's like steroids, right? People want to take steroids because they want to look bigger, because they think when I look bigger I'll feel happier, I'll feel more confident, and chances are you won't.
It's worked the opposite in my case. I used to want to be big, and now I'm getting leaner and slimmer. I'm like, yo, I love this. This is great. All my clothes fit better as well.
Yeah. And because you've worked for it.
Yeah.
So you feel better as a result of having worked for it. You know, there's like a story that I saw once online about, you know, back in the day when like humans were hunter-gatherers, right? We would get a dopamine hit after like doing something for a long time. So like we would go out fishing and we'd sit there and we'd wait for however many minutes or whatever to catch a fish. And we'd have that build up, and then the fish would come and we get the dopamine hit. Whereas now it's like, it's like you just can get it instantly, right? And stuff like steroids or like these extreme things, they're just providing someone with the dopamine hit of what they think is the thing that they want, but it's not. The real thing they want is the satisfaction of having created it, and the knowing of like, oh yeah, like I've worked towards something, like, and it's come from me. It hasn't come from something outside of me. You know, it's like it's self-generated rather than externally given
That's
or
the funny.
provided.
That's the funny thing about steroids. I used to see like a lot of misunderstanding with this. Guys would think when I have really like big Dragon Ball Z style muscles, then girls will like me. I know so many women who don't like the look, and you get more attention from men than you do with women. You know what I'm talking about, innit? You'll go up to, oh yeah, this guy's jacked. How much do you bench press? The women don't care. They're looking at you like, all right, sounds like you got having fun in the gym, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious, man. Like, there's no substitute for, like you said, cultivating it within you. If you have a discipline with training, eating, like, over time, this will compound and make you into a different person. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if I take really good care of myself, I'm going to take really good care of my woman. And it's not going to be in a get rich quick kind of way. It's going to be like, nah, I do this for me anyway. Do you want some?
Yeah.
I like cooking for my partner. Or like, hey, I'm going to make breakfast. Do you want something? Or, you know, I'm going to the store. Should we go together? Like, I take walks regularly. I'll ask my partner, do you want to come with me or we go for a walk? These are not like I'm doing it to get something. I do this anyway. Do you want to come and join in?
Yeah.
And this is what I love about, like, what you said about the cosmetics thing. It's like, yeah, it's a quick way to get something you think will satisfy you. Just like with Sasuke, he thinks that killing his brother is going to satisfy him. He doesn't know the real story. He doesn't know at what cost he doesn't know what it's going to cost him. He apparently doesn't care because he's young. And this is what I see with a lot of, like, a lot of women will get breast implants and then have explant surgery. So they get them taken out. And it's... I don't know, it's such a crazy thing. Like, look at the extremes that we're willing to go to. You willing to go under the knife, under anesthetic, which you might never wake up from. Some people have an allergic reaction to it. In order to have something that you think you need to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that, and it's yeah, I've never seen it like that with the Orochimaru Sasuke thing, but I think it's a good analogy, because that's what he's doing, isn't it? It's like, right, you want this thing, here's the quick way you can get it, come find me, and then when you get it, you know, you're gonna have everything you need. And it's like, it doesn't work out like that. It doesn't, because when he actually finds out the full picture of the story of Itachi, he's like, oh shit, we'll come to that another time, because it's later in the series. But yeah, like, I think Sasuke's journey in this arc is very interesting. Well, it throughout it is, because it sort of goes through like some mad ups and downs, and like we'll maybe one day we'll do a proper like Sasuke character breakdown, because I think like there's so much learning in his journey by itself. But that's sick. Do you know who's another sick character who comes up in this bit of the story? Kimimaro.
Oh yeah, the bone guy.
Yeah, the bone guy.
Yeah, he's sick.
So he's got what do they call it again? The
Keke Genkai.
Keke Genkai, which is like a genetic thing, like a one-off genetic thing, basically, isn't it? Where his bones can like protrude out of his body, and he can basically make them into weapons, and they just replenish themselves, basically. And but the story's mad. I don't know if you remember it. It's like when he was a kid, because he had this Keke Genkai, like they basically kept him in a cage, like, and they treated him like a wild animal or something like that, and he was just kept in this like cave, in a cage, and he was basically treated like shit. And he ended up just like hating himself, hating everyone around him, and similar thing, like wanting to go on a hateful vengeance mission, right, of like, I don't deserve this. And he just became like this, you know, really powerful ninja, because of the pain that he was holding on to and wanting to get revenge and you know, whatever, take his kind of like make it right in his mind of like the way he was treated. But I think it really tells you the story of like how someone can become something because of an environment they've been in when they're younger. Like, it helps you really understand people's stories. You know, when you see people today and like, oh, this guy's a psychopath, or he's a murderer, or he's that, it's like, well, how did they become that? Would we have a better understanding of that person if we knew everything that they went through when they were younger, right? And it's actually really interesting, because you know, just recently, this really ties into it, right? Is there's a footballer called Dele Alli, and he did an interview just recently, and basically his career, like when he was 19, 20, 21, you know, he was like gonna be the next big thing. He was sick. He was like one of the best players. He was playing for Tottenham at the time, one of the best players in the league at a young age, like really big talent, and his career just nosedived. And everyone's like, what the fuck's wrong with him? Like, he's lazy, and there's like everyone's saying he's lazy, like the money's got to his head, the lifestyle. He did this interview recently, and it came out like when he was 6, he was like sexually abused, and then when he was like 9, something else happened in his life. When he was 10, he first like did cocaine, or like he was forced to do it or something. And he's just this mad backstory of his childhood. And then when he got older, he got addicted to sleeping pills, because he's trying to, like, you know, push away the trauma and the pain of the past. And it's like, when you understand that story now, you think like, oh, now I have a clearer picture of like what's happened here in his career, where things haven't started to go his way. He's obviously started to then like get in his own head about it, and all of this pain has started to come to the surface again, and it's really troubled him. But that's not obvious to see on the outside until you understand the story. And I think for me, like, that's what I think Kimimaro is the first character that you come across where they give you that level of backstory about he's this like almost like demon, like this powerful demon ninja, and he just wants to like fuck everyone up, and he's like, no one can really touch him. And here's how he became that, because look at his childhood, look at the backstory, look at, you know, what happened in his past, which is, you know, almost created him into that type of person. And it's like, it just gives you a real like understanding, because at that point you're like, oh, I kind of get it, why he's a bit of a dick now.
I really like that we're touching on the Orochimaru stuff, because he is, I mean, we talked about this last time a little bit, that the third Hokage took his arms and all that and whatever. I like how people respond to Orochimaru with the, oh my god, he's a demon, he's scary. Sasuke is looking at him like a means to an end, and Jiraiya is looking at him like, oh, he's just a lost kid. You know, like, it just reminds me of the most scary people are often the most scared people. And I learned this phrase a little while ago. I went to the barbershop. This was years ago. I can't remember, like over 10 years ago. I went to the barbershop. I was waiting for over an hour. It was hot as well. I'm starting to nod off on the seat, right? I'm starting to fall asleep. And the barber's like, look, Sachin, you're next, don't worry. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like nodding off, listening to music, nodding off. This massive dude walks in. He's parked up on the pavement. So he's brought his big car, like as if like a BMW or a Mercedes, onto the pavement. The license plate says PWR. His name was Power. He walks in. The guy in the chair gets out, like he's finished getting his haircut. And there's a line of us waiting, sitting down. And he goes, all right, go, cut my hair. And he's like... And I'm like, looking at him, I'm like, he goes, like, for anyone who can't see that, he's signaling, don't say anything. So anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right. Anyway, this guy sits down in the chair. He goes, Sachin, I'm just going to shave this guy's head. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't make a big deal out of it. I've been waiting for an hour already. Someone else in there is like, oh, he doesn't even have an appointment. The guy turns around and goes, I'll give you an appointment with the hospital if you want. And I was like, okay. And anyway, someone else, he takes the phone for the barber shop, and he's calling the electric company about his property, and he's like reading the bill and all this stuff. Someone's talking while he's on the phone, and he screams at them. He's like, shut the fuck up, I'm on the phone, as if it's his house. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? Anyway, this little kid is talking, and he shouts at the little kid, says to the dad, I'll smash your head in if he doesn't stop talking, and like threatening everyone in the shop. I'm sitting there just totally baffled, like, what's your problem? Calm down, innit? Fucking hell. Anyway, he walks out, yeah, and I finally get my turn to get my hair cut, and the barber goes, listen, Sachin, I'm so glad nothing bad happened, because the last time he was in here, someone went to the hospital.
Oh, crap.
And I was like, Oh, okay. Most scared people, scary people are often the most scared people. I don't know what he's scared of. I don't know why he's trying to scare people, but it's often that way around. It's often that the people who are often the most scared of something in their past is like a reaction. And Orochimaru's got like he's got some of that in him. So is Sasuke. You know, like he's been terrified. Oh my god, my brother. Naruto, he's scared because he's been alone and outcasted most of his life. There's a lot of that, but look how Naruto uses it differently.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's like graffiti and I'm being a little shit, whatever. But then he's like he overcomes the fear with love. Sasuke, he's like, I've got fear. Let me go and get more. Let me go and project it out of me more. And you see this with people who want to hurt other people. Yeah, they're coming from that place where they've been hurt. They're scared, and that's how they're choosing to deal with it. Not very effective.
Yeah. And you know, it's like we were saying before. It's like overcompensating for something. You know, it's like Orochimaru's whole thing is like, I wanna learn all of the jutsu. I wanna, you know, learn all of the skills, have all of the knowledge. I wanna be immortal. What for? It's like literally, what for, innit? Like, I get it if it's just like, it'd just be a fun thing, right? Like,
It doesn't look like that.
It doesn't look like that. It's like it's like a hardcore mission of like, oh, this is like when I get to that point, like, dude, what are you gonna do if you're immortal?
The classic when and then, innit?
Yeah. Like, when I become immortal, then my life will be complete. Will it? Like,
probably have more problems.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, literally, I'd like if he was a real person, I'd love to sit him down and be like, dude, like, just seriously, like, what are you gonna do with immortality? Like, what are you actually gonna do with it?
It's like when you meet people who are only focused on hustling and getting money. It's like, okay, when your bills taken care of, when your family's taken care of, when you've got everything you want, then what? Oh, then I can relax. It don't look like that, bro. It looks like you're gonna be carrying on this way forever.
Yeah, I had this an interesting conversation with someone once around like relationships, and they were in a relationship, and they were like, oh yeah, you know what, like, I don't know if I want to be with this person because, you know, I'm so like focused on creating my business and building and growing, and like, she doesn't have this same thing. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you know, she's got her little like business on the side, but she doesn't seem to want to take it that seriously. She's a bit more of like a homebody. She likes to cook and like keep the house nice and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So what do you think, what are you looking for in a partner? He's like, you know, I want someone who's kind of like on the same, he didn't say level as me, but like, you know, on the same kind of path as me, with like, you know, they're creating their own money, they're focused on their goals and their business. I was like, okay, cool. I said, do you want kids? He was like, yeah. I said, all right, so who's gonna look after the kids then? And it just dumbfounded him. He was like, he didn't know what to say, innit? He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, who's gonna look after the kids? Like, realistically, like, I'm just curious, innit? Like, if you've got a partner who's, you know, on the same kind of charge as you are with business, and they're super focused, and they've got that kind of like, you know, entrepreneurial spirit, when you have kids, who will look after the kids? Do you want your partner to be someone who looks after the kids? Do you want to look after the kids? Like, how do you see it? And he didn't really know like what to say, because I don't think it'd been something that he considered. He just thought like, oh, you know, I don't want to be like the main breadwinner. I want someone who can like, you know, match me for my ambition and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, but then what? If you do have someone like that, then what?
And then
shout out, Dude, Where's My Car? Great movie. We should do a breakdown of that one day.
Didn't we already?
No.
We mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah, we've mentioned it.
But yeah, like that. Yeah, it's just these. The reason I love Naruto so much, the anime, is like, it's littered with stories of misunderstanding. You know, like Naruto is like, yo, I'm gonna be the Hokage. But there's no then I'll be happy. Okay, yeah, it's like then you'll all respect me, but it changes so much over time where it's like who he's being, everyone wants him to be the Hokage.
Yeah,
he's changed who he's being from I'm a belligerent little shit and fuck everyone, graffiti blah blah, to I actually inspire everyone to come together. I'm a leader, and you lot people want him to be the leader of the village. I think this is really important for us to talk about. The whole point of us recommending people to watch this anime is not like what do we get out of it? Nothing really. I mean, we'll get the satisfaction of knowing that you're learning something, and
we could have a cool conversation with you about it.
Yeah,
that's about it.
That definitely. But really, why I want people to watch this is that it points in the direction of who do you want to create yourself to be. Naruto is not starting off the anime like some great, worshipped ninja who everyone thinks is good. No, everyone thinks he's an idiot. No, stay the hell away from that kid. He's stupid. He's just causing trouble. From that to being the most respected and loved person in the whole village, like, it takes a lot, and we can all create ourselves in whatever way we want to create ourselves. And I think that's super important. A lot of people a lot of people will fight for their limitations, Alex, and it's very sad.
Yeah, who's an example in a character in Naruto who does that? There's got to be someone.
Fighting for their limitations.
5 minutes later.
I guess Choji in the beginning, the guy who eats a lot. Yeah. He's like, he uses it as an excuse, like, I don't really like training, blah blah blah. No, Rock Lee doesn't fight for his limitations, but he could say, I'm not good at ninjutsu, I don't have good chakra control, I don't have a Kekkei Genkai, blah blah blah. Instead, he's just like cracks on with what he's got. This is what a lot of people misunderstand, man. I'll talk to people who like, oh, but I have chronic fatigue. It's like, bruv, where's that coming from? Yeah, like, you keep creating yourself as tired because you believe stuff that's making you tired, and you want to call it genetic, you want to talk about these things. Cool, I'm not an expert. I'm open to being wrong. And at the same time, if you watch Dr. Joey D's stuff, Joe Dispenza, he explains all of it. There's decades of research that have gone into it. Their meditation seminars and all that. It's proving to cure people, yet they still want to fight for their limitations because it's easier.
Yeah. And I think it's like, sometimes it just feels like it's more comfortable to do so, because when you're standing on the edge of what you know is your reality, it's scary, innit? You're like, I don't want to, like, I know this, and this is, I'm okay with this. I can stay okay with this. Whereas, like, if I go out there, I don't know what's out there, and it's scary to me. And I get it. Like, there's been things in my life that, like with business, for example, I'm scared shitless. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm scared, and it stopped me for a good couple years of like really giving it a go with my business. But then when I was like, actually, like, what else could be out there? There's fear, but what else could be out there? There could be possibility, there could be growth, there could be these other things. I was more open to stepping into it. Same with like, I don't know, like mental health, for example. When I had my breakdown, I was scared. I didn't know like what was going on. I didn't know what was happening to me. I wanted to just revert back to type and like stay like in this like comfortable bubble of like misery that I'd created. But then I started to see, actually, like, what else is out there? Like growth, like something new, like a different way of living, a different way of being, and starting to step into that stuff created something for me. It's like breaking out of what was my known reality and stepping into possibility, into something that can be created from that.
And yeah, it's the unknown that we're stepping into. I get that it can be scary, but like hiding behind what we've been told is true, and because it feels like, oh yeah, it feels true. I had this conversation the other day, man. I didn't get into it because this person is convinced that their feelings are an accurate representation of reality. I've got massive resistance to this, to you, so that means that I've got to do this. I'm like, do you want that to be true? And he's like, oh, and I didn't want to answer the question. Because when we challenge this thing about do you want that to be true, what our reality is comprised of what we want to be true for us, what we decide is true and what we act on. Thoughts become emotions, emotions become behaviors, behaviors repeated become patterns and habits, and your habits will determine your future. This stuff about what I feel is true, is a lot. I've noticed this more and more and more. The more I keep getting like further into my own journey, the more I notice that there's some people who do not want to question anything, or up to a certain point. They're all right with questioning like some things. Oh yeah, that, whatever. But when it comes to the most deeply held beliefs, they don't want to be challenged on it. And that is like, I guess you could say that's a great analogy for Naruto, the character. He is open to questioning anything and everything he thinks he knows, because look at when Jiraiya is teaching him, yeah? He's sitting there like, I don't get it. He's all right with not getting it. He's like, you got to be a better teacher. He's trying to put it on the teacher. Then he's like, okay, I'll just try and learn it on my own. He's open. He's an open book, basically. He's a little kid. He doesn't think he knows everything. And as we get older, learning becomes more difficult because of what we think we know.
Yeah. And there's the bit with Jiraiya and Naruto where he's teaching him to do the what's it called now? The
Rasengan.
No, the one where you make someone the thing.
Shadow clone.
No, the other one.
Substitution.
No, the other one where he brings the toad. What's it called?
Oh,
it's
Sage Art. Summoning jutsu.
Summoning jutsu.
Fucking
Shit, back I was really struggling with that one. The summoning jutsu, and he's like, Naruto is like trying it. Basically, like the summoning jutsu is where like you summon I guess a character or an animal that you're kind of aligned to with soul-wise or whatever. can't remember how it works. And Jiraiya's trying to teach it to Naruto, and like at first when he's doing it, it's like he's trying to get him to summon these like grand wise toads who are like ninja toads or whatever. And he keeps like summoning these little like tadpoles and stuff. And Naruto's like, I just can't get it. Like, I just can't get it. And he keeps trying. And even Jiraiya's getting pissed off with him a bit. He's like, fucking hell, this kid's useless. Like, he can't do anything. Like, how am I supposed to teach him? But he stays patient with him. And like, it's easy at that point for Jiraiya to be like, do you know what? You just don't get it. Like, you just don't get it. Like, let's just forget it. But he's challenging Naruto to like, keep going with it, like see, like tap into the thing that I'm telling you to tap into, like really try it, really see what happens, really create that feeling, that bond of what the jutsu is trying to create between you and this and the toads or whatever. And it's like, it's so easy at that point to just give up, innit? Like it's like it's like the challenging of the belief. It's like you prod it and you prod it and you prod it, and it's like, oh no, but yeah, and that's like what the little tadpoles are, right? They're like, oh yeah, but the yeah buts and the what ifs and the this and the that. But then when Naruto finally gets the jutsu and he summons the big toad, the one with the pipe, and Jiraiya's like, oh shit, like he summoned him, like he's like the grand toad or whatever he is.
Gamakichi
or
something like that.
Oh, that's the son. That's the son.
Gamatatsu, I think.
Something like that. And he's like, what? Oh shit, how did you do that? And it's like, that's what happens. Like Naruto's belief is like, oh, I can't do this. Like, this is too hard. Like, I'm never going to get it. But when he just really like gives himself to it, like, and really just leans into it, he summons like the big toad that even Jiraiya wasn't expecting him to summon. He's like, oh shit, that's like the king toad. How did you do that? And even the toad's like, what am I doing here? He's like sitting there like, well, how did I get here? And he's like, who's this kid? Get off me. It's funny.
Yeah, we're capable of so much more than we think we are. That's about a good place to leave it for today.
Yeah. It is.
We are actually professional life coaches. Yeah, we got client sessions and stuff to do.
Yeah, we do.
We love doing this, and like we said in the beginning, we're not having these conversations with you and each other just because we look nice and sound great. We want to start conversation. We want to build community around this. We want this to be helpful for you. So tell us, what are you getting from this conversation that we're having? Whether you've watched Naruto or not, whether you considering watching it, what did you learn from the anime? Tell us about the parts that we've talked about other parts, your favorite characters, why, and how you're taking this out into your life, how you're applying it to where you are right now.
And if you like this episode, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and come find us on TikTok and Instagram at Nerd Life Coaches. And we'll see you for the next episode. Nerd Life!